We've got one more story that I was excited to get to, Gavin, because obviously we covered it 2 days ago. Elissa Slotkin got hammered by Krystal and Saagar and Enjeti about her support for the starvation of children, her complicity in the bombing campaigns of hospitals, of schools, basically the mass genocide of the Palestinian people by the Israeli government. And she had to do a little bit of a PR fix. She had to go out there and be like, oh my gosh, this is creating an ocean of bad press for me. Where on earth can I go? And so she had to go to the voice of the people, Gavin. She had to go out with Stephen Colbert, a man who's also been under massive duress recently, right? And I've never been much of a Colbert guy. I know everybody was freaking out because Trump was Paramount was canceling his show because of Donald Trump, and this and that. But personally, he's been dead to me ever since he squashed that one Jon Stewart joke live about the Wuhan virus, and it was hilarious. And I don't give a fuck what your politics are. Jon Stewart is a good guy, and that was a funny joke, and he should have been allowed to say it on television. But they send Elissa Slotkin out onto the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And did you watch any of this, Gavin?
I did watch a little bit of it. And she was totally like pretending to be, I'm so in favor of humanitarian aid. And like, that's my thing is, getting aid in to the Palestinian people and trying to, prevent the starvation. That's me. That's what I do. That was kind of the vibe she was bringing very clearly on a sort of a PR attempt to, soften her image and yes, her complicity in the genocide. Because a lot of people have pointed out that now that this, famine, this starvation is so intense and horrific. A lot of people, even that did support Israel's assault and genocide on Palestine, they're like, this is too far, though. This is too far. I can't be associated with this. I have to speak out now, even though it's arguably too late. So that's what she's doing.
Yep, she does the whole thing where it's like, oh my gosh, I really care about all these people who I've been bombing relentlessly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh. It's the same thing that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton would do during his administration when they would have to respond to drone strikes and all these kinds of things, right? It's a pretty like standard operating procedure for Democrats to go on late night shows and not be held accountable. But even if Stephen Colbert wasn't going to hold Elissa Slotkin accountable, the comment section decided to. Guys, this is pretty crazy. Okay, so this is the Late Show with Stephen Colbert's own YouTube channel, right? Completely unaffiliated with Breaking Points. Breaking Points was not discussed live on the Late Show. It wasn't like, I had this really dirty interview and that's why I have to come on here. Like, that was the pretext for it, right? That was the pretense for this whole exchange, but it wasn't actually mentioned. The comment section, however, just tons and tons of praise for Breaking Points and calling out Stephen Colbert. Breaking Points really dropped the ball by not asking Senator Slotkin about her opinion on hot dogs versus sandwiches. Ha, 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 ha. So a joke about how she just came there to get softballed. She clearly went on Colbert to do a cleanup job, but this comment section actually introduced me to the fantastic Breaking Points interview, which I never would have seen otherwise. Nice job. The Breaking Points interview really helped show Senator Slotkin's true character. The fact that this is one day later than her train wreck interview on Breaking Points is such a jarringly clear example of why legacy media has record low trust, and you'll still get consultants paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to go and ponder with each other. Why is trust in our institution failing, and what can we do about it? Shameless. As my senator, I think she should stop supplying weapons to a terrorist state. I love how every other comment brings up the Breaking Points interview. I'm so proud of this community. I'm truly impressed by how much Breaking Points and Secular Talks viewers are commenting here. So just overwhelming, guys. That was the straight sample, right? I even read the one comment that wasn't about Breaking Points. That is the clearest day sample. If you read all of the top comments, that's crazy.
Yeah. I think that's, I always... try to not go over the top when it comes to analyzing the comment section on various YouTube videos, because, you will see like a concentration of one specific opinion that might not necessarily be reflective of the general public. But, this is one piece of anecdotal evidence among many now, where I've started to see a lot of Democrats, not just in left-wing spaces, not just in the fucking Vanguard comment section, but on establishment media platforms and in the comments of establishment media, really pushing back on this bullshit and this gaslighting from Dems like Slotkin. and it's really refreshing. It goes to what I was saying earlier about the mood of the base, and it's a refreshing, change of pace. It's a refreshing sign that people are finally waking up and that they don't like their Democratic senators and representatives to be backing war.
100%. Was there a portion of this clip right here you wanted to play?
I just thought we could relive a specifically great moment that I timestamped there whenever you want to.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was an
cool.
incredible interview with Breaking Points. And I also want to give another shout out to Breaking Points. They interviewed a former Green Beret lieutenant colonel who had been doing humanitarian aid delivery work in Gaza. He was a former special forces guy. The story he shares is unreal. They fly in. He talks about how just absolutely chaotic it is from jump. He was given like a tourist visa. They're just doing incredible work over at Breaking Points. This is another example of it.
Defensive weapon
I
comes
also
through. No.
I also reject that because, for example, if Senator Slotkin, if you were asked to support defensive weapons for Iran, defensive weapons for Russia, you wouldn't back that.
No, but Iran, but
they're defensive. They're just protecting civilians, right?
Right.
So how is it different?
But because Israel's being shot at.
Well, so is
So is Iran.
Yeah.
So is Russia.
Ukraine's shooting at Russia right now.
I'm sorry. This is the difference between allies, partners, and adversaries.
Why is it
No.
an ally then? What are they doing right now that which just makes it an ally?
I think allied relationships,
Yeah.
just like Lithuania right now, like an allied relationship.
Oh, yeah, a Lithuanian impulse. The Lithuanian influence on American politics is quite immense these days.
Yeah, Zach, why don't you ever get mad about the crimes against humanity that Lithuania is committing right now? I hear you talk a lot about Israel, the only Jewish nation in the world, but I rarely hear you criticizing the barbaric practices of the Lithuanian government. Now, obviously, a completely ridiculous, stupid thing to say. It gets even worse.
Partner relationship is a long-standing relationship of information sharing and diplomacy. That is to me.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that?
Information sharing.
Yeah, they asked, why is Israel an ally? Like, based on what? Like, what fucking conduct of theirs, suggests that they're our fucking ally? How are they our ally? She then goes on to immediately fucking reference information sharing. As some of you guys know, Elissa Slotkin is CIA or former CIA. There's really no such thing as being former CIA. Once you're in the CIA, you're in it for life, essentially. And she kind of let slip there the reality of the situation. Israel is basically just a giant intelligence asset for America in that part of the world, and or we are for them, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, that's what it's that's what it's about. It's about the CIA and the information sharing, and these two governments, collaborating to have the most amount of intel possible.
100%. And also the information sharing that we shared without really wanting to, i.e. they spied on a bunch of people who are really powerful in our country.
Yes.
And now are using explicit blackmail to get whatever they want as they do an unconscionable act of ethnic cleansing. Yup.
It's not a every day we decide Lithuania is our ally or not. We're allied or not. And sometimes we have big breaks with allies. Right? Sometimes we have difficult moments.
I hate when politicians talk to you like you're in their kindergarten class. And sometimes we have breaks with allies, right? Like, oh, that would send me.
With allies. Sometimes it goes the wrong way with allies. But an allied relationship is a long-term relationship.
It's hard for me to understand why we should ally. I'm sure you believe in or claim to believe in liberal human rights. Why would we ally with a nation that is committing a genocide and live streaming it?
Can I ask literally this? I think about this from the mirror image way, because I do not support the things that Donald Trump is doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm an American. So do I want other countries to look at America and be like, we can't stand Donald Trump, so we're going to end any long-standing...
Yeah, but you voted for that shit. It wasn't Donald Trump. It was the entire United States Congress, pretty much unanimously, with few dissenters.
Yeah. Also, would it suck for us? Obviously, yes. But if America was literally committing a fucking genocide, then yeah, we should pay consequences. Other countries should sanction us. They should, sever ties with us. And they should do that as it is now because of the fact that we are enabling, greenlighting, and supporting Israel's genocide. We should face more international consequences. We don't have to because we're a fucking global superpower with nukes. But yeah, if certain allies wanted to tell us to fuck off over our foreign policy, Yeah, I would totally understand that. And we've seen that happen. Like during the Iraq War, what do you think the whole freak out over freedom fries and shit was? That was our allies saying, no, we're not going to fucking follow you into this fucking quagmire. We know what is going to happen. We don't trust you. We don't support this.
Yeah, that's actually a great analogy right there. When France said, hey, this is fucking illegal, what you guys are trying to do in Iraq, the people of France do not support this. That is what you can do when you are an ally. Are we not allied with France anymore? Yeah. Did I miss something where Emmanuel Macron's not allowed to come on U.S. soil anymore? We don't do any business with the French? Like, of course we do, because part of being an ally is not just being like, oh, we're going to roll out the red carpet for you. Anything you want, we'll give it to you. We'll send you billions and billions of dollars with aid. You'll have free health insurance for everybody. Our people will be dying on the street, right? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Anyway, was there more that you wanted
just
to
a tiny bit more? Yeah. Because
relationship.
It's hilarious that she can't actually defend the concept of Israel like being an ally for any other reason than just like that's the way it is. So therefore, we have to support them no matter what, unconditionally. And apparently, same with Lithuania.
We have with the American people. We're going to cut off any support we give them on information sharing or intelligence sharing. Like, we are not just our elected leaders. And I think that's the thing that's been lost. In the conversation.
So B'Tselem and another Israeli human rights.
Here. Okay, but obviously the whole interview was amazing. That was just such a specifically great moment because, it's just like this, this fucking line that you hear over and over again. Oh, Israel's our ally. Israel's our friend. We have a special relationship with Israel. But very rarely does a politician actually have to explain why that is or why Israel deserves that treatment. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%. And it's great because none of them can answer correctly, which is, oh, well, because I wouldn't be able to get reelected if I didn't support everything they did, because they would spend so much money outing me from Congress. They would just invest in whoever my challenger is, spend millions of dollars, infinite money, right? And I don't have the actual authentic support in my district to, withstand that. That's the reality of the situation, guys. There is so much that it just all boils down to money, right? All of these things, they can't tell you. They're making it up. They're word salading. They're marbles in their mouthing, right? Sounds like the Vanguard sometimes when I can't get my thoughts together. But the reality is, we'll shoot you the straight dope. The truth is that it all boils down to money. If we overturn Citizens United, one of the reasons they don't want to fucking do that is because it would be miserable for AIPAC. AIPAC always lobbies super hard for the idea that, money is speech and you can spend as much of it as you want to, because they are a super PAC entity and that's what they want to be able to do. So these are the kind of things that are all woven together. That's why back when Bernie Sanders was first running for president in 2016, he said, if we want to get anything done in this country, we have to overturn the Supreme Court ruling of Citizens United, which, is a conversation for another day because it'll involve stacking the court like a motherfucker. But it's because the powerful influence of these big money interests, including foreign ones like AIPAC, right? Ally or not, they're still foreign fucking entities, influencing our election is just so immense. It's basically impossible to overcome.
Yeah, and even beyond the Citizens United thing, I think we should just ban foreign country lobbies from, like, what the fuck? Like, why are so many of our politicians accepting money from any foreign lobby? It makes no fucking sense. Like, any country, like, I don't want any senator being elected off of, Brazilian money or Chinese money or, Ethiopian money or what, like, what the fuck? You're not running to represent those countries. You're running to represent your district in America. Not to sound like Donald Trump or whatever, but it's like, no, that should not be a factor here. It's genuinely crazy that anyone gets away with it. And again, it's not just Israel. It's also Saudi Arabia. We talk about that a lot and the influence that it has on our politics. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. We had a great conversation with Luke Thomas about that and how the UFC has gotten in bed like crazy with Saudi Arabia and how they've actually used that as a way to jointly influence Donald Trump, right?
Yep.
They constantly celebrate him. It's all devoted to making him happy. When they do these big UFC spectacle events, they'll, do special walkouts for the president. All the fighters will try and impress Donald Trump while he's there. He feels like the big man, the head honcho. Probably really reminds him of what Vince McMahon was doing back in the 90s when he was really into being in the WWE, but it's real and now he's the president. And so they've just been greasing his palms like that. And it's one of the many ways that the UFC has been able to, expand their presence culturally and politically. We've talked about the pros and cons of that, mostly cons if you're a fan of the sport, but it's a pro if you're a fascist.
Yeah, and we also talked about the Saudi influence on golf, which also happens to be one of Trump's favorite sports, the one that he, routinely brags about winning tournaments in, which is hilarious that he'll literally like use the White House account to be like, Donald Trump won another tournament at his Irish resort or whatever. It's like, dude, who gives a fuck? No, and also you didn't. Obviously you cheated. But even if you did win a fucking golf tournament, you're the president of the United States. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, so he was just opening that new golf course, right? And there was a clip that came out. And obviously everybody knows Donald Trump cheats at golf, but there was a video that showed how brazen it is to this very day as president of the United States. Like, he has a caddy that's like clearly he shot right into one of the sand dunes. Like, it was going to be a bitch to get it out, right? And then he's like driving in his golf cart over to where one of his caddies is, and the caddy just drops a ball out of his fucking pocket and like, oh, here you go, sir. Like, you could tee off from here. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it's genuinely crazy that he has such a small fucking ego that he has to win fake golf tournaments.
How is that even fun? You like, clearly you're never going to be a professional golfer, right? You have other accolades. You're president of the United States.
Literally so many accolades. Yeah.
Like, why not just build a machine that shoots hoops in your driveway for you? You know what I mean? Oh, hey guys, I just hit 100 shots in a row with this new thing that shoots hoops for you. And it's like, why would you want something that shoots hoops for you? That's the whole point, is having fun, getting better at shooting hoops. Right? You're not going to be Steph Curry, but you have a fun time just doing the act of playing outside, right? I mean, I have never in my life enjoyed a game of golf. I've been twice. Both times I was like, this ain't for me. It's hot outside. I would rather be in the shade.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there, sir. The Vanguard will be there. Be there.